beer brewed here, it is used to make the brew beer in this refinery. Oh, Earth Rider, thanks for the Great Lakes. I wonder why it's called. My professor.
No idea.
Well, I won't get into my professor. Well, look, my predecessor, though. We get down. Look, we now have. We used to, before the recession, before the pandemic, cost $10 to make it.
$10 to make it.
Beer brewed here.
That's. Hey, Sumi, always here with your barks. You were just laying in the other room, chilling out. I can bring your bed in here. You want me to? I'll do it while I play a clip. I have lots of clips to play today. Sumi, your barking, when I've listened on replay, your barking is a little obnoxious. You going back to your room? Okay. Going back to her room. She has smelly breath, my dog. Sumi. Hey, everybody. It's Friday. What's happening? How are you doing? Bitcoin's up today. That's happening. The E. Jean Carroll case just concluded. The jury came back with their verdict. So Steve Lookner is live with that. He is giddy at the amount that that crazy lady won from Donald Trump. So, hey, George Washington. Hey, Al Shizzle. Hey, Rhonda, RD, Fortune, Allison. Hey, everybody. Thanks for your ongoing support. I appreciate you. Bringing you the show live. So, yeah, I have lots of news. Is it going to be a civil war? What do you think? Should I run a poll? I mean, that's what people are talking about. 25 states are behind Texas right now. And Trump seemed to tell people that they should be going to the border, and a bunch of people showed up. Like patriots are storming the border right now. That could be like a new January 6th type event. I'm not sure. I mean, people are saying it's could be a trap. That's what people are saying. Regular people are apparently showing up at the Texas border now, and I have video of that. So even RFK Jr. supports what Texas Governor Abbott is doing, and he's in a wheelchair, believe it or not. So, yeah, war, civil war. This will be the umpteenth time that I've put civil war in the title for this show. I'm sure that Tim Pool is happy. He's always looking forward to a civil war. So anyway, yeah, that's what we have going on in this country today. So I have a lot of news. I don't know if I'll get to everything. I mean, it's a million things. The Trump case just settled. The jury came back with their verdict, and they said it was $83.3 million that Donald Trump is liable for. It seems like the case is a lot like the Alex Jones case, where he was already found guilty before the trial started. He wasn't even allowed to defend himself from the charges. So he did a little bit, but when he was on the stand, he said he never met the woman, etc. But he wasn't even allowed to say that because he was already found guilty before the trial started. But yeah, he just lost. Well, yeah, he lost. He lost before it started. I didn't realize that. But $83.3 million is the settlement amount that the jury came to in the E. Jean Carroll case. So pretty bad news for Trump, I guess, that's a lot of money, even for somebody who apparently is a billionaire. Billionaires don't always have a lot of money in the bank necessarily. They have it in assets like real estate. So yeah, that happened today. That just happened just now. So I'll play you. I have a bunch of tabs open. There's a weird case. There was a case of an execution that just happened where a guy survived the first time only to be executed a second time. And apparently it still didn't go very well, but he is dead this time. They executed him by nitrogen gas. This was in, I can't remember what state. I don't have that story up even. So I'll get you guys through all the news. Just want to make sure everybody's doing okay. We're getting ready for the weekend. The weather is getting nicer here. So that's good. I hear it's getting nicer in the rest of the country too. So I hope you guys are doing well. Up to like 70s here today, which is more normal for us. So 70s in January, there really, you can't complain. I mean, it would be ridiculous to complain. So you guys excited? You guys have Bitcoin. Bitcoin's up. I mentioned up $2,000 today. It's up around 42,000 again. So it's coming back. They say that the selling is done. So we'll see. All right. So you guys ready for the action? Did you hear? You think Joe Biden is going to make it? He keeps saying this stuff that's insane, that doesn't make any sense. I didn't even understand what people were laughing at in this clip. I'll play it again. The first part especially.
Fruit here, it is used to make the brew beer in this refinery. Oh, Earth Rider, thanks for the Great Lakes. I wonder what
What did he say? Thanks for the Great Lakes for providing the water for the beer, I assume. The chat stopped. I guess that happens sometimes. I'll play my intro and then we'll get started. Let's see. Go to brand and intro. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news. Jenny says, the audience must have a teleprompter that translates Biden, because there's no way they could have understood what he said that quickly to laugh that hard. Yeah, they laughed like he said something really funny, but I couldn't understand what he said at all. Okay, I have some crazy video. Let me just show you this. This is just wild video of a state trooper in Oklahoma who pulled somebody over, and then there was a crash. He survived. Ooh. That's a crazy video.
That Oklahoma state trooper is okay after he was hit.
He was fine. But check this out. God, that's terrible.
He pulled over when the driver of an
wow.
SUV crashed.
Scary being a cop. Okay, there's video for that. All right, let's see what I got for you guys today. So the border situation is, somebody said I should run a poll that people are talking about civil war. 25 states have come out in support of Governor Abbott, who says he's ready. Today was supposedly the deadline for the feds to come in, but the feds have made a statement saying that they work together with the Texas National Guard. And so I don't know. I mean, it's going to look really bad if they cut down the razor wire for real. So it hasn't happened yet. I don't have a live feed of what's going on at the border, but here is the news that the deadline was until today.
A border showdown is brewing in Eagle Pass, Texas right now. A huge hub for illegal border crossings. There is a standoff that is underway between the federal government, which wants the razor wire that Texas put in place there to protect its own state. They say it has to go. And Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott says he will not. The Biden administration has now given him a deadline of tomorrow to allow Border Patrol access to the area. It's called Shelby Park, essentially setting up a confrontation potentially between federal agents and the Texas National Guard. A border showdown is
brewing. I was going to show you guys, in case you're interested in... oh, no, I can't show it. Oh, yeah. In case you're interested in like staged photos, here's what the New York Post published. Babies supposedly crawling through razor wire. I mean, tell me how that's not a staged picture. Why would the razor wire be like a tunnel? You figure that one out? Migrant children howling in pain. This is a headline from the New York Post, which is a conservative magazine, I believe. Not a magazine, a newspaper. And newspapers are going out of business. It seems like they're cutting staff like crazy everywhere. New York Times, or I'm sorry, the Washington Post cut. The LA Times. LA Times cut like 20% of its staff. But look at this. I mean, come on. What? It's like they built razor wire tunnels to come across the United States. I mean, it's clearly. I'll show you the pictures. This is what they're showing. I don't know. Seems kind of unbelievable. Yeah, people in the comments are saying, oh, that's kind of weird, right? There's a baby howling, apparently. Migrant children pictured howling in pain. All right. So I showed you guys that today was the deadline. So far, the feds haven't done anything, and the feds say they're cooperating with the National Guard. Let me see if I have that. Here we go. The Border Patrol. I'll show this. The Border Patrol Union says it will not start arresting Texas National Guard members for, quote, following their lawful orders, unquote. The post text continues by saying, quote, Texas National Guard and rank and file Border Patrol agents work together and respect each other's jobs, period. If Texas National Guard members have lawful orders, then they have to carry out those orders. And that is putting up more razor wire. That's what they're doing. So what a few things that have been said is that the Supreme Court ruling just said that the feds have the right to go and cut down that razor wire. But this isn't going real well for the Biden administration. I mean, they're losing people left and right with this kind of rhetoric. But yeah, it gave them the right to cut down razor wire, but it didn't say that the Texas National Guard has to stop putting up razor wire. So that's what they've continued to do. So Governor Abbott says he is prepared for a conflict if necessary. He was on Tucker, so I'll show you that. This is a clip from Tucker Carlson. I'll play it.
We're thankful to be joined now
Governor
by
Abbott.
Governor Greg Abbott of Texas, who joins us by phone from India. Governor Abbott, thank you so much for joining us. If the administration declares that it plans to federalize the National Guard of the state of Texas, your National Guard, what will be your response?
Well, first, I'll be shocked. That would be a boneheaded move on his part, a total disaster. But for one, as you might imagine, we are prepared in the event that that unlikely event does occur to make sure that we will be able to continue exactly what we've been doing over the past month, and that is building these barriers, whether it be the concertina wire or other anti-climb border barriers, whatever we've been building. The Biden administration is now trying to attack us because of it, and we will continue to do exactly what we're doing to expand our denial of illegal entry into the state of Texas.
With state employees, I assume, not with National Guard, but can you envision a scenario in which you would put armed state employees on the border instead of the National Guard of Texas?
We do have other armed state employees on the border as we speak right this minute, and there's the Texas Department of Public Safety, as well as other law.
You can see all the razor wire. Yeah, how would migrants climb through that exactly? And they would be covered in blood too. So yeah, there's a little look at the installation.
Law enforcement officers, as well as National Guard from other states. And you can be assured there will be more National Guard from other states and more law enforcement officers within the state of Texas and other states. And Tucker, I just signed a new law in the state of Texas that will go into effect on March the 5th that authorizes any law enforcement officer in the state of Texas to be able to arrest anybody coming across the border illegally.
Have you spoken to the president or anyone from the Biden White House about what appears to be an imminent collision?
I have not, to be clear. I have spoken to the president about the border. I met him on a tarmac in El Paso and talked to him directly about what was going on. I handed him a letter that had in it immediate solutions he could take that would immediately secure the border without the need of any new law to be passed. despite the fact that I handed him on altogether 8 different letters, he has refused to ever respond. My point in telling you that, we have laid down the precursor of what's called Article 4, Section 4 of the United States Constitution to show that we have been invaded and we have demanded support from the president to safeguard our state, and they have refused to do so 8 times. And that authorized me to declare an invasion under Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution to make sure that Texas is going to be able to use every tool in our arsenal to defend our state.
Of the couple
You
of
guys, I
dozen,
read that whole thing for you. He wrote a letter to Joe Biden saying that they're allowed under the Constitution of the United States of America to defend their borders. So, and that's what all these other people are agreeing with too. So,
dozen Republican-led states who've pledged support for you, how many do you think would send National Guard to Texas?
I'll be shocked and disappointed if almost all of them do not send. There have been about 10 so far that have sent National Guard or other law enforcement. They now are joined together with us. And this is a fight for the future of America, and they all know it. And so I believe that they will all be in on this effort.
It's just a remarkable moment. And I know you're heading out, but my final question is, how do you see this resolving? What happens next?
Well,
Civil War.
Texas is going to continue to expand the border barriers that we are erecting, the razor wire that we're putting up, and to continue to gain control of more land over the coming months. I believe, however, that this will all come to an end on January the 20th of next year, because I believe a new president will be sworn in, a president who will actually enforce the immigration laws of the entire country, not just the Texas border, but New Mexico and Arizona and California and the Canadian border also. And we will have safe and secure borders once again, because we will have a president who actually will enforce the laws of the United States of America.
But in the next year, are you concerned about any kind of conflict between state forces, whether state employees or National Guard, and federal forces?
So, Tucker, all we can do is be as prepared as possible, deploy as many people as possible, do as much as possible to put up more border barriers and deny illegal entry. And our head is down. We're working hard, regardless of what the Biden administration is doing.
Governor
There you
Greg
go.
Abbott of Texas joining us now.
They're
from
keeping their
Houston.
heads
Thank
down.
you very much.
You got to see the borders, the barriers. So lots of people coming out in support of what Governor Abbott said. I want to go to George Washington mentioned that the Texas Attorney General says Biden is working with the cartels to invade the United States. I have that audio since you mentioned it. Thanks, George Washington. Thanks for giving us a heads up on that. Yeah, I already had that audio lined up, so I'll play that right now. Ken Paxton says that the Biden administration is working with the Mexican cartels to invade the United States. I'll play that.
Working with the cartels. That's a pretty tough charge. I mean, you are the Attorney General of the state of Texas, one of the not just biggest but most important states in the union, an economic powerhouse. Did you just accuse the Biden administration of working with the cartels?
There may not be a written document that says that, but in fact, yes, that's exactly what they're doing. They have turned our border into a place where the cartels know that they can basically drop people off, and they're not trying to hide anymore. I mean, under all other administrations, they used to hide, they try to sneak across the border. Now they come straight to Border Patrol, and we're like a processing arm for the cartels. The cartels get paid per person and they make a lot of money on each person. And so the Biden administration is effectively, no matter how you want to slice this, they are partnering with the cartel to get people into our country as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Working with the cartel.
When people cross the border, they want to see the Border Patrol because it's like they check in and then they get their phone or what have you. Apparently they get a phone. Apparently they get money, but mostly they check in and then they get released into this country. So and they have like semi-legal status until their court date, which might be 3 years from when they come in. So, yep. Thanks, George Washington, for the tip on that one. Yeah, I had it lined up. So that's okay. Oops. I just made myself big again. How are you guys doing? If you want to support the show and we appreciate your support. Go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil, or you could buy a t-shirt by going to truthclothing.io. And every little bit, every coffee is super appreciated. It really helps me try to get by. So I appreciate that. Go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. And if you do it during the show, I'll read off your comments. In fact, some people dropped me off copies after the show yesterday. So here's what Trump called for. Trump has called for all willing state governors. I'll show you that. All willing state governors to send their National Guard. Trump says, when I was president, we had the most secure border in history. Joe Biden has surrendered our border and is aiding and abetting a massive invasion of millions of illegal migrants into the United States. Instead of fighting to protect our country from this onslaught, Biden is unbelievably fighting to tie the hands of Governor Abbott in the state of Texas so that the invasion continues unchecked. In the face of this national security, public safety, and public health catastrophe, Texas has rightly invoked the invasion clause of the Constitution and must be given full support to repel the invasion. We encourage all willing states to deploy their National Guards to Texas to prevent the entry of illegals and to remove them back across the border. All Americans should support the common sense measures by Texas authorities to protect the safety, security, and sovereignty of Texas and of the American people. When I am president on day one, instead of fighting Texas, I will work hand in hand with Governor Abbott and other border states to stop the invasion, seal the border, and rapidly begin the largest domestic deportation operation in history. Those Biden has let in should not get comfortable because they will be going home. Okay, so Oklahoma is ready to send in their National Guard. I have a clip of that. So, oh, thanks, Orwell today. Thank you so much. That's a $20 super chat. Biden's response was economic. They suspended approval of any additional LNG distribution terminals in Texas. I have the LNG news. You think the LNG thing is his response to Texas? That's a very interesting point, Orwell, today. Thank you. Thank you for the $20 super chat. I really appreciate it. And that's an excellent point you make. Yes, I have that news. Don't know when I'll get to it in my tabs, but the Biden administration has suspended approval of liquefied natural gas distribution. So and that's a crazy story too, because we've been sending liquefied natural gas to Europe because we blew up the pipeline that got them natural gas from Russia. So we've actually been in doing some good business selling natural gas overseas, which has to be packaged and liquefied. It has to be cooled down, and it's kind of complicated process. But thanks, Orwell, today. Thanks again. Really appreciate the super chat. That's really nice. So yeah, totally true. I've said that Trump has invited other National Guards to join it. I'll show you. This is the Oklahoma governor says they're going to be sending over National Guards to help Trump defend the border.
The former president, Donald Trump, has suggested to all the Republican governors out there, send members of your state's National Guard. In your case, Governor, it would be the Oklahoma National Guard. Send them down to Texas to help Greg Abbott. Are you going to do that?
Absolutely. You know, I've done it once before, and we're looking. I already talked to my tag, my General Mancino. We've already started putting the numbers together. We'll be in contact with Governor Abbott.
The former president,
so they're doing
it.
They're doing it, and then that call has also got. Oh my goodness! I'll read that super chat. Thanks, Job for 9. Appreciate it. Here are supposedly patriots. Some of them in their helmets, showing up at the border. This says heading to Texas to stop the Biden border invasion. Look at that. So heading to Texas.
'Cause these are my people. And this
Look at
is
them
my
all.
land. This is what we prayed for. And this is God's plan. If you ain't from
Look at all of them. Crazy, right? So that's apparently regular citizens showing up at the border. And I hope they don't get in the way of the National Guard doing their job. That's the only thing I can say. So thanks, Job for 9, who says, who dropped a $20 super chat and says, please support Lift the Veil with a like and share, t-shirt, buy me a coffee membership, super chat, love to the community. Thanks, Job for 9. I appreciate you. That is so cool. What a great Friday we're having right now. We got 132 people tuned in too. So that's a big show. Yeah, I'm showing you guys what's going on with the border thing. And Trump also just lost his case too, or he had already lost, like I said. So if you're just getting here, the E. Jean Carroll lawsuit, the jury came back with a decision of $83.3 million in that. So let me show you. Let's see. Beto O'Rourke is calling for Biden to nationalize the Texas Guard. So that's what Beto is telling people. Glenn Youngkin says Virginia stands with Texas, but I should show you the map. Let's see. Yes, I can show you the map. People say it looks like the Civil War again. Here you go. Here's the map of all in red, all of the governors that have signed a letter supporting Greg Abbott. So those are all of the states that are supporting Greg Abbott right now. And so that's why people are talking about a civil war. So that's the news. Okay. Robert F. Kennedy also says Texas is right. Biden's failure to secure the border leaves states no choice but to take matters into their own hands. As president, I will end this humanitarian crisis once and for all. I will secure the border and destroy the business model of the drug cartels. A country without borders is not a country at all. Amen. So, Robert, so what do you think? Are you guys going to vote for RFK Jr.? That's I'm thinking when it comes down to it. We'll see though. Or should I not even say? Could be Trump. Hey, maybe I will. Maybe you'll convince me to vote for Trump. And here in California, maybe you'll convince me. Maybe my wife will convince me. Not sure. But RFK Jr., I mean, hey, that's good. He came out in support of what Governor Abbott is doing. So I have that. All right. I showed you guys the people showing up at the border. I have Ted Cruz speaking out about it. Here's John Kirby asked if we have a southern border.
They're moving along well, and we're negotiating.
No, they're not.
In good
I mean, they're
faith.
not. I mean, they're not is what we're hearing. That they're not really moving along well. And you say that he's been concerned about it for 3 years, but that's failing, obviously, because when you have record numbers of people coming in, that means the policy is failing. So why not change gears and try to do something that works?
I think it's important to put this in context too, Martha. You're seeing, as you rightly said, record numbers of people, and it's not just the United States that are facing that pressure. Lots of countries in the hemisphere, including Mexico, is facing a lot of pressure at their own southern border. I mean, there are more people on the move in this hemisphere right now than there has been since World War II, and it's a lot of reasons.
Do we have a southern border?
Do we have a what?
Do we have a southern border?
Yes, ma'am. Of course we do.
Then how come people can flow across it every single day? Hundreds and thousands of people over the 300,000 people in December.
We're working very hard to try to fix that, Martha. That's why we need congressional action. That's why the president asked for additional funding, more than $6 billion in the supplemental to try to get border security enhanced. I mean, I think you and I are obviously not going to see the policy solutions the same way, and I respect.
Well, I'm just looking for results. I'm saying if you're concerned about the number of people crossing, you're not getting results. So at some point you have to say we got to do something different.
Now, the idea that we haven't looked at this and tried to work on this and trying to work in concert with Congress is just not true. We are. This is a complicated issue, and it's going to require a real team approach, not just from the executive branch, but from the legislative branch as well.
So there you go. Apparently the legislative branch has stalled on there's some team trying to put together a border bill, but it's not going very well. Joe Biden was asked if the border was secure. Here's what he said.
Do you feel that the border is secure, sir?
No, it's not. I haven't believed it for the last 10 years. I've said it for the last 10 years. Give me the money.
Give me the money, he says.
Have enabled any of this crisis in the border that you're rattling down?
I've asked for thousands more everything from judges.
There you go. There's our genius non-Alzheimer's president saying that he just needs money to secure the border, but doesn't jive, right? If he's saying he needs money, but he's also the one behind saying they should be cutting down razor wire. It's not going well with people in cities like New York and Chicago. I'll show you that. Rhonda Iser, there's a 4.2 earthquake in California. Really, just now? I didn't feel it. That's pretty big. That's pretty big. If it were near me, I would have felt it. I've been through a few earthquakes, nothing serious. If it gets really bad, I'll just fall. It will just be broken off into the ocean. So that's what he said. He said, give me the money is what he said. So I have, all right, so let's see. I have residents in Chicago. Let's see what I have. I have old clips of Barack Obama and Joe Biden saying that they want to protect the border. Here's a old clip of Barack Obama. I mean, it just seems like Democrats want open borders. That's what it seems like, right? It seems like Democrats want open borders, and people, even in liberal areas, are seeing the results of that policy. And no matter what Joe Biden says, oh, just give me the money, doesn't seem like he really wants to secure the border. So here's what Barack Obama said in 2005.
We all agree on the need to better secure the border and to punish employers who choose to hire illegal immigrants. We are a generous and welcoming people here in the United States, but those who enter the country illegally and those who employ them disrespect the rule of law, and they are showing disregard for those who are following the law. We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, unchecked, and circumventing the line of people who are waiting patiently, diligently, and lawfully to become immigrants in this country.
There you go. So there's Barack Obama saying the same thing Republicans are saying now. Here's Joe Biden clip from 2007. I have that.
Would you allow these cities to ignore the federal law regarding the reporting of illegal immigrants and, in fact, provide sanctuary to these immigrants?
The reason that cities ignore the federal law is the fact that there is no funding at the federal level to provide for the kind of enforcement at the federal level you need. Pick up the New York Times today. There's a city not far across the river from my state that imposed a similar sanctions. And what they found out is, as a consequence of that, their city went in the dumps, in the dumpster. Stores started closing. Everything started to happen. And they changed the policy. Part of the problem is you have to have a federal government that can enforce laws. This administration has been fundamentally derelict in not funding any of the requirements that are needed even to enforce the existing law.
So, Senator Biden, yes or no, would you allow the cities to ignore the federal law?
No.
Okay.
That's sanctuary.
Would you
cities.
allow?
He said no, he wouldn't allow sanctuary cities. I have clips from, let me see. Yeah, here we go. I said open borders is costing Democrat votes. I have clips. Black people are fed up because they feel like they're like the marginalized group that needs help, and they see illegal immigrants getting all kinds of help. So it's pissing off Black people. And I also heard that there was a poll that Trump is winning among Hispanic voters in some states. So I don't know, man. This election isn't looking really good for the Democrats as long as they're behind this open border stuff. Here's somebody from, I don't know, Chicago, probably. Let me see.
Black Americans. We're not African American. We're not people of color. We're not black and brown, minority, BIPOC, none of that. People, no, none of that. This is about our people demanding the resources, just as you've given these people.
Yes.
Newcomers who are walking into this country. And sister's correct. How do you take a new group of people that have paid no taxes, can't vote, and you put them in front of the voters? I'm not going to pay them no taxes. And so we say this to you, Mayor, Governor, President. If you think that they're powerful, that you have to acquiesce and answer to them over us, then you tell them to vote for you in these next elections. You tell them to support your Democratic National Convention. We're going to show you how we feel about the Democratic National Convention. Turn it up. Thank you. If you think you're going to have a peaceful Democratic National Convention in the city of Chicago while our people are starving, stay tuned. Right. Stay tuned. All right. Oh, we're not going to stand out idly back. And we ask any of those who are about closing borders. We don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, or whatever. As long as you're about closing these borders, we can support you. That's right. And anybody who is about open borders, we're against you. We're against you. Plain and simple.
There you go. If you're about open borders, we're against you. Yeah, that's what black people say in Chicago. So I've seen a few clips of that. Yeah, because they're like, well, why aren't you helping us out? You know, the same way, giving illegal immigrants free housing, free food. Why not? What are you doing for the black community? So I think Democrats are really losing people. The FBI, some retired FBI agents wrote a letter saying we're going to have a terrorist attack, basically. So I'll read the whole thing to you, as a matter of fact. But yeah, a lot of people are worried that we're going to have a terrorist attack because of all these military-aged men coming in unchecked. So I'll show you that. This is from, again, retired FBI staff, posted by Big Fish. They wrote a letter. Subject: the United States is facing a new and imminent danger. As former senior executives of the FBI with deep experience combating dangers to the nation, we write to express our concern about a current specific threat that may be one of the most pernicious ever to menace the United States. The danger arises from the nature of the threat itself. Wars and espionage and bombings and riots are sadly familiar delivery systems of instability, intimidation, and insecurity. The country has faced these and more throughout its history and is held together, though not without struggle. The threat we call out today is new and unfamiliar. In its modern history, the U.S. has never suffered an invasion of the homeland, and yet one is unfolding now. Military-aged men from across the globe, many from countries or regions not friendly to the United States, are landing in waves on our soil by the thousands, not by splashing ashore from a ship or parachuting from a plane, but rather by foot across a border that has been accurately advertised around the world as largely unprotected with ready access granted. It would be difficult to overstate the danger represented by the presence inside our border of what is comparatively a multi-division army of young, single adult males from hostile nations and regions whose background, intent, or allegiance is completely unknown. They include individuals encountered by border officials and then possibly released into the country, along with a shockingly high estimate of gotaways, meaning those who have entered and evaded apprehension. In light of such a daunting, unprecedented penetration by uninvited foreign actors, it is reasonable to assert that the country possesses dramatically diminished national security at this time. The nation's military and laws and other natural protective barriers that have provided traditional security in the past have been thoroughly circumvented over the past 3 years. In 2021, the demographics of those crossing the porous southern border started to shift. Young men from around the world traveling alone and holding questionable motivations dramatically increased in number to become the most common profile of those breaching the nation's borders. A startling number have been found on the terrorist watch list or are from countries designated as state sponsors of terror, distinctly unfriendly to the United States. This is particularly alarming in light of the Hamas terrorist attack in Israel last October 7th. Those of us who have fought terrorism know that historically, successful terror attacks invite mimicry. We know as well that terror leaders intentionally cultivate throngs of young men possessing a certain easily manipulated personality type to carry out atrocities. It is stark to say so, but having a large number of young males now within our borders who could begin attacking gatherings of unarmed citizens in imitation of an October 7th and at the behest of a foreign terror group must be considered a distinct possibility. We would be remiss not to call out this potentially grave threat in the most direct terms. The warning lights are blinking. And yet, this very real concern does not seem to be getting the focus it logically deserves. The director of the FBI has correctly assessed an elevated threat level since October 7th, but relatively little discussion has followed, highlighting unsecured borders as a significant cause of this increasingly dangerous environment. It is a troubling concern that needs illumination, not avoidance. Any violation of the nation's immigration laws increases risk, but the surge in numbers of single military-age males descending upon American cities and towns is alarming and perilous. Additionally, they are not just from terror-linked regions, but from China and Russia as well, hostile adversaries of the U.S. with aspirations to devastate national infrastructure. For these reasons, elements of this recent surge are likely no accident or coincidence. These men are potential operators in what appears to be an accelerated and strategic penetration, a soft invasion designed to gain internal access to a country that cannot be invaded militarily in order to inflict catastrophic damage if and when enemies deem it necessary. This new reality, this never seen before threat, deserves greater attention. The borders need to be secured against these young men, and those already here illegally must be identified and removed without delay. This will take the coordinated cooperative efforts of the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, and the rest of the intelligence community to achieve. We encourage these actions and much greater congressional attention to the threat. The country has been invaded, an invasion that will continue as long as the nation's enemies perceive it will be tolerated. Until it is stopped, the United States is extraordinarily less safe and secure. Knowing all of this, it would be a shameful travesty if some terrible attack, a preventable attack, were to occur against innocent Americans or the infrastructure that keeps the nation safe and functioning. The government will have failed grievously in its duty to protect. And this is written by former FBI agents. So that's a letter written to Congress and others, and the president, I believe. Who'd they address it to? Mr. Speaker, Senate Majority Leader, and Chairman. So to the Congress. That was written to Congress by people who are former FBI agents. All right. So I think that's the news on the border invasion, unless you guys have anything else. But that's the news on the border invasion. Today was supposedly the day. So far, I haven't seen any reports of them taking razor wire down or anything. So did anybody see the nudes of Taylor Swift? That's the story. Taylor Swift nude deepfakes went viral on X. I actually saw them. Somebody posted them in my Discord. So yes, that's what AI is good for. There's a lady in California who stabbed her boyfriend 108 times and got probation, no prison time. She killed her boyfriend because she said she got too high and that she had a psychotic break. But if you did that with a car, they'd get you for it. I can tell you that from experience. Well, not experience killing anybody, thank God. But if she were to have gotten high, driven a car, and had a psychotic break and driven a car and killed somebody, she would have definitely gotten jail time for a DUI and would have had her license taken away. As it was, no probation, just probation and no prison time, just community service. Cannabis-induced psychosis. It's real. The cannabis is very strong now. And it can cause psychosis, and it can cause people to become bipolar or schizophrenic. So you have to be really careful with it. That's news from California. There's other news in California. This house, this like really fancy house, was taken over by squatters who are charging people to come into the house. You guys haven't heard about that. Okay, let's see what else I have. People are afraid of Tucker Carlson. Oh, this is a good story. Here's a guy actually standing up. You know, men are playing in women's sports, right? Here's a guy that's actually standing up to that. You know, actually quit his job coaching because he wasn't going to coach men playing women's sports. So there have been some laws passed in certain states to get rid of that. But here's a guy talking about how he quit his coaching job because he's not going to stand with, he's not going to coach boys playing girls sports.
Hi, Dave Brown from Stand Tall. Last night, my wife and I resigned our head coaching positions for varsity and JV girls tennis at our high school we're at. For the last 25 years, I've coached varsity basketball, varsity tennis, coached in over 1,090 games, won 667 and lost 423. I've had a lot of success, but I finally reached the point where I had to resign last night because of boys playing girls tennis. And the reason we did is we're just not going to support boys playing girls sports. This is wrong on every level. These are not girls. They're boys saying they're a girl. They're playing a false sport, come back and play a girls sport and go back to playing a boys sport. All I have to do is change their paperwork at the district office. I'm not going to support it. I'm never going to lie to a kid. I'm going to support my wife, who was a pioneer in Title IX. And every other girl that's come along now expects every adult to do the right thing and protect them. We're not protecting girls now. K through 12 and women's sports. We're allowing men or boys to play in these sports. It's dangerous. It's wrong. We have boys in the locker rooms watching girls go through their get ready for practice or a match or a game. How wrong is that for a girl to have to endure something like that? What we would have called 5 or 6 years ago somebody going to jail is now acceptable in high schools and middle schools. This is absolutely wrong when a girl has to fear this, but she can't say anything. And if you're in a public school, at least in Oregon, you can't say anything, or you will be ostracized, you will be put down, you will be shamed, and you just don't have a voice. People can't stand up and say anything, but I will. I'm going to say this is wrong on every level. You should contact every school board member that you have in your area and say, there's no way we're doing this. Contact administrators, but say it, and say it strong. Just do it.
There you go. Just do it polite, he says. So yeah, I got sent something that says Black Chicago residents and lifelong Democrats sue Democrats and win after stripping their taxpayer resources for illegal migrants. Okay, let's see if this is a good clip. Thanks, Job49, who sent me this on Twitter. Appreciate it. Let's see.
I think I'm frustrated with all of it, all the way down from the president. I'll tell you why. Because the president could have stopped it. This should not be on the backs of the people here and draining our resources.
Yeah.
That's just one of the powerful voices, one Black resident in Chicago who's had enough of Joe Biden's migrant crisis. And she's not alone. Another Chicagoan is telling the Free Press, quote, this is Kata Trust, quote, there's a humanitarian crisis in the Black community, but every time we have a need in our community, we're told that there are no funds. There's no money for us.
Now they're suing to stop a local field house from becoming a shelter for illegal migrants. Here now, the author of the article, the Free Press staff writer, Olivia Reingold. Olivia, good to see you. Thanks for being with us. So tell us more about what you learned on this issue, on the migrants in Chicago as part of your story.
Well, first, a positive update, which is the city of Chicago. I asked them for comment. They said they have officially backed off of their plans to convert this field house into a migrant shelter. But what did I learn on this story? I learned that these are all people, these are all lifelong Democrats. I spoke to a former Obama intern, someone who grew up canvassing for the NAACP, pro-reparations voters. And these are people who feel completely betrayed by the Democratic Party and would like to be Democrats, but just cannot get behind what they stand for these days, especially on immigration.
I want to fully recognize that we are all profoundly pale people. And we're talking about this issue that is impacting the Black community in Chicago, but it impacts everyone in this nation. And I think that that's the point of your article. In New Hampshire, the voter analysis has come out just like in Iowa. Number one issue is immigration. It is a wide open border. But do they understand that in order to reverse this devastating policy that is at everyone's doorstep, they have to vote differently in these national elections? This is not about Brandon Johnson. This is about Joe Biden and all of his cronies.
I am not quite sure that everyone gets that quite yet. I think that there are two camps. I think that there are people, everyone is definitely certain that they are not going to vote for the same Democratic leaders, again, locally. But nationally, probably only about half of people say, I'm going to sit the presidential election out. And I did even speak to a few people who, in a matter of months, went from, full-blown Democrats to now Trump voters.
I think it's fascinating that they say, you always tell us when we need something, we need some help, that there's never any money. But all of a sudden, all of this money is flowing to migrants and how far they'll go for non-citizens. But when your own people are struggling, there's no cash.
That's exactly right. I looked into the placement of these shelters throughout Chicago, and they actually do seem to be somewhat evenly distributed. But in Black communities, they say it stings so much more because they're seeing schools that were shuttered for them, health clinics that were shuttered for them, miraculously reopened. And, showers that haven't run in years are being repaired overnight. All of these improvements are being made for migrants and not, their own citizens.
There you go.
We're angry for them, and we're angry for the whole nation. Olivia, thank you so much.
There you go. They said they're pale. So yeah, it's not just white people who care about immigration. So yeah, that's news. George Washington is asking if we're going to take calls today. If you want to call in, maybe I'll take a call. We have a number of people tuned in today. I want to thank people for coffees. And read off what they wrote. This was after the show yesterday, I believe. Down at Vices bought 2 coffees. This is at buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. Says, hey, Nathan, do you drink energy drinks as well? Do you have Ghost energy drinks out there in California? I highly recommend them. Thanks for what you do, and get some coffee or some energy drinks from one of your biggest fans. By the way, I think this border thing is going to get out of hand. Yeah, is it going to get out of hand? We'll see. That's what we're talking about today. Frying Pants bought 5 coffees. Who says, keep on keeping on, Nate? Thank you, Frying Pants. God, that's great. Thank you guys for the support. I really appreciate it. I am looking for employment, but while I'm not employed, the money from the show, that's the money I have coming in, and I have to buy Katie flowers every once in a while for putting up with me. So I really appreciate anybody who supports the show financially in whatever amount you want. And I also have Cash App at $sign LTV411 for anybody who wants to support that way. So Twilight says it is out of hand. Yeah, it's already out of hand, right? But is there going to be, civil war and stuff? That's the question, right? So we'll see. Let's see what else I want to play to you guys. College administration jobs. Oh, Zyn, nicotine packs. Here's John Fetterman, or is it John Fetterman? Is that his first name? Saying that he doesn't want to call for the crackdown on Zyn. I got one of them in right here. That's these things. These Zyn nicotine chews. They're made by Philip Morris, apparently. So they're not chews, they're packs that go in your lip, and you can swallow and stuff.
On the side of more freedom and personal choices of those kinds of things. And I made that same argument when I wanted to legalize marijuana. Like, and more than 500,000 Americans die every year from smoking and tobacco, or tens and tens of thousands die from alcohol. And I think there's bigger issues to address than that product. So I don't support it, and I would never support snuff or chewing tobacco, but it's available. I'm
There you
going
go.
to err on the side of more.
So that's it. Yeah, chewing tobacco is much worse for you than Zyn packets. All right, since George said he'll call in, I'll open up the phone now. Okay. I have some other video. Well, I can. Yeah, we'll just go to phone calls. Oh, I have this thing about assisted suicide from Tucker Carlson. The people are afraid of him. Let's see. I'll open up the phone at 650-429-8294. I have it open now, so it should work. George Washington said he wanted to call in. Is George Washington also Bill Clinton? Not sure. Thanks, people who support the show. Yeah, you know what I have to do for this job I applied for? I have to do a personality profile. Have you guys had to do that? I'm afraid I'm going to fail the personality profile. Do you guys cheat on those? I was taking some tests also for tutoring, and AI can answer questions on tests pretty reliably now. So you can double check your answers with AI. And it's pretty good. Seems, I don't know what people are going to do in the future when we're replaced by robots. So I have my Google Voice open right now for calls. If you want to call in, George Washington, you said you would. Call in 650-GAY-TAXI, and I'll take your call. There's a call right there. Okay, so let me share this tab. Okay, here we go. Happy Friday. You're on the air. Hello.
Hey, happy Friday, Nathan. Down at Vices. Hello.
Vices. Thanks for the support.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Are we on a really long delay?
No, I don't think so. No, I think we're good.
Oh, good. What's up, man?
I was trying to give that guy George Washington a chance to call in, but I guess maybe he had to let the dog out or something.
Yeah, no problem. Good to hear from you. Thanks for the coffees. Appreciate it. You're the one telling me about energy drinks?
Yeah. Do you drink them?
When I go out on a bike ride, a lot of times I'll grab a Monster, but actually I decided the Monster's not that great. But yeah, once in a while I do. Today, what I just started doing is I got a pitcher so I can make myself iced tea. And I'm drinking an iced tea now, a caffeinated iced tea. So, because that doesn't have any sugar in it. Energy drinks, they have sugar in them. You can get them without sugar too, but then they come with other chemicals to create the flavor. But yeah, I've been drinking iced tea, coffee, just drip coffee. But I haven't heard of Ghost energy drink. Never heard of that.
Yeah, it could just be a East Coast thing. What I like about their flavors is a lot of their flavors are like candy and stuff like that we ate as children,
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely marketed to, I'm in my 40s and stuff, so it's definitely marketed to people that ate that sort of candy and stuff like that, back in the day. So that's kind of cool.
Okay, cool.
And whatever they do, whatever flavors they have, they're all clear. I think the drink comes out completely clear, so I think that's why they call it a Ghost. But it's all like they have all different kinds of flavors and stuff like that. Sour Patch Kids, Swedish Fish, remember the Warheads, the little sour Warhead candies,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, aside from that, what's your opinion on what's happening right now? I mean, it certainly has the potential to get out of hand, is this something that's like, is this like the big thing that everybody has supposedly been talking about or getting prepared for? Like, is this the beginning of all that?
Who knows? I mean, I don't know if it seems like Border Patrol's not trying to conflict with the Texas National Guard. So it might be much ado about nothing as far as there actually being a confrontation, especially an armed confrontation. But
Right.
yeah, what do you think?
I don't know.
You think it's going to be a civil war or what?
Man, I don't know, because for years I'm like, oh, this is going to be the big thing, and then nothing happens. And
Yeah,
then,
right.
I get all amped up and stuff, and I think there's like you said, there's people out there that totally want something like this to happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hope shit doesn't get out of hand, but something needs, in my opinion, something needs to happen. I mean, 9.6 million people crossed, estimated illegally last year. I mean, that's a big number.
Last 3 years. I think it's over the last 3 years, and it might be a little less than 9
3
million,
years.
but yeah, it's a lot. It's crazy. More than the population of certain states.
Right. And it's, they try and make you feel bad, and they say, oh, well, you're just a racist for thinking that type of way, or you're just a this or a that, or a xenophobe or a bigot, and all this kind of crap. And it's just, and people buy into it, and people believe it. And that's, where they have control over you. And then, if it's, I'm sure there's some bad people within that mix of good people that are coming through. And when you don't know who's coming through, like Trump always talked about the great Trojan horse. I mean, is this the beginning of that? I kind of feel like it. So
yep.
It's like, I don't know. I hope not, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. And there's a lot of information out there. I mean, I'm an Alex Jones fan. I know that, there's certain things I like about him, certain things I don't. But I think that a lot of times he's been right, and that they silenced him and tried to silence him for a reason, because anytime anybody's right about something, they try and shut them the heck up. That's when when you're, on the right path or on the right trajectory.
Yep.
And I've been listening to him past couple of days, and, there's a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of good stuff to think about.
Yeah.
But,
for sure.
I don't know. So, but yeah, I just wanted to call in.
Thanks,
and,
man.
I had, past couple of weeks have been hard for me. I lost my brother.
Oh no.
2 weeks ago.
Oh really?
Wow.
That's
So we had the memorial for him. Yeah, it was
geez.
terrible. It was pretty sudden. And it's just been, I've just kind of been all over the place. So I'm just trying to focus, keep moving forward, and that's pretty much it.
We
had a memorial for him on Sunday. Yeah.
Wow.
And things went really well. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations for keeping your head on straight while going through something really terrible. And if you ever need to talk to somebody, if you're feeling down or whatever, you can always just text message me or whatever at this number. And, I'm going through stuff too, but nothing like that, so God bless you. Sorry for your loss.
Well, I appreciate that. And, if I need to do that, I will. So.
All right, cool.
Okay,
Thanks,
well,
man.
I'll let you go.
Thanks.
And you're doing a great job. Keep it up, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for the coffees too. I appreciate you.
Sure, man. Take care.
All right, see you.
Bye-bye.
All right, that's a nice call. Down at Vices. Yeah, good call. Yeah, God, I wouldn't even know what to do. I have to deal with my father's health, which I'm dealing with. I got to see him yesterday. That's why I wasn't here for the show. I like to go to lunch with him once a week, and that takes a while. So yeah, I was down there dealing with that. And, I definitely sympathize with anybody who's going through stuff. Yeah, I was going through stuff myself, but nothing as bad as losing a loved one. So just got to remember the things you have. There's always somebody else who's got worse problems than you. And we have to move forward. We have to appreciate life and time moving forward, regardless. So, okay, I got that call. I can still stay live and see if anybody else wants to call in. We have enough people tuned in. So I'll stay live for a little bit and talk to people. So thanks. Yeah, everybody's saying, giving their hearts to Down at Vices for the caller. Yeah. I've been going through stuff myself, but more just to deal with my mental health stuff, trying to find purpose in life. I like doing this, but it doesn't pay enough, so that's why I appreciate people who support the show financially. And today was a good day. So thank you so much. Hey, you're on the air.
Nate Daddy.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, man.
Hey.
This is George Washington.
Hey, George Washington. How are you doing?
Man, I just got out of my time machine. Geez, boy, are my arms tired.
That's right. What's up, man?
Hey, not a lot. Dude, so I've been living in Texas for a while, and yeah, man, it's crazy that it had to come to this. You wonder if it's all show, obviously.
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, isn't there kind of like a controlled demolition going on in the United States?
Well, this
right now,
I don't know. I don't know how much this time is worse than other times, etc. People always have the feeling that the end is near, so I don't want to overreact to it. And we've been having this border crisis for a while, but
for 3 years. Well, I guess for longer than that.
Yeah.
I guess ever since Obama built all those cages.
Yeah, right.
Which he did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, I mean, dude, Abbott, I mean, yeah, he is what he is, I guess. I don't know. He did a lot of shutting down of the state. So I didn't really appreciate how he was taking away freedoms during COVID. And so it's like, he seems to be like hit or miss sometimes. And this one, it seems like he's hitting. And that whole Supreme Court case that got decided or whatever today, it had nothing to do with this. It really just had to do with the fact that the federal agents can remove razor wire. I think
Right.
That's
it.
what it came down to.
Yeah. Pretty much. They have the right to remove it, but but they're not trying to yet, as far as we can tell from the video that we're seeing online.
And Texas can put up razor wire.
And Texas can still keep putting up the razor wire. So, yeah, there was no ruling that they can't do it. So,
and I can't believe that this is such a hot button issue when everybody knows that 6 million illegals have passed in the past 3.5 years. Like, I mean, isn't this something that everybody should kind of be on board with?
Yeah, you would think so. And you're seeing more and more people who are, talking out about it. Even RFK Jr., right, saying that the Texas governor is correct. So it seems to be
a
spreading.
literal stroke victim, Fetterman.
Yep, Fetterman
is coming out.
Yep.
Who would have thought that what timeline is this? Nathan?
I don't know, man.
Where we're all agreeing with Fetterman.
Yeah. I
Like,
know. Fetterman
I just
is
don't
funny.
understand it.
Yeah, it's hard to
I don't-
understand this reality.
Right? I mean, you know what's even crazy? Have you been on Instagram? Like, in a while?
Not really. No. What happens on there?
Dude, there's a guy eating raw chicken on Instagram.
Oh, really? Oh, that's funny. Raw chicken
Dude,
is
this
supposedly
guy-
not as safe as raw beef. Raw beef, you're supposed to be able to eat because the checks are stronger. So there's a guy eating raw chicken as a thing.
So he started out this account that was like raw meat experiment, and he whatever, and then he started an Instagram account like 8 days ago, and he has 190,000 followers.
Wow. I gotta get into that business.
You gotta start eating raw chicken, Nathan.
Yeah, there
like,
you go.
what are you doing with your life? I'm just messing with you. But it's crazy how you can just like hit those, like you can just hit, you know what I mean?
Jackpot. Yeah, I know. Well, I kind of hit it once, and now I'm happy being a little smaller and being off the radar and stuff. So,
well, hey man, 116 people were tuned into your stream. I think like right now on
yeah,
YouTube.
133.
Those are pretty good numbers, man.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah,
Sure,
133.
I got some people tuned in, so that's good. I'm blessed. So,
and then you got those. I saw those two $20 super chats, man.
Yeah,
like
not bad.
That's pretty good.
It's a good day. Yeah, it's a good day when I get a little money coming in. So it definitely helps ease the pain a little bit. So that's good for sure. But yeah, I'm looking for
I saw you had a.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I know you had a lot of traction on YouTube, like in the very beginning. You were doing pretty well, and then it just kind of like died off a little bit. That was kind of frustrating for me to see.
Yeah, the censorship, really. You just can't say much anymore. I can't cover the same topics and stuff. And I've changed too. I'm different. So I'm different than I was when I started. So right now it's, this is kind of like a hobby for me, but I got to try to see if I can get a job considering the situation I'm in. I'll see if I can. I have a few marks on my record is the only issue. So hopefully.
Yeah, you told me about that.
So.
Yeah.
So.
Well, dang, man. Well, it was a great show today. And
thanks,
hopefully
man.
somebody else cooler than me calls in. And I don't know what's going to happen in this, but I don't think it's going to come to civil war.
No, I don't think so.
There absolutely needs to be something done at the southern border.
Yep, for sure.
Pretty clear. I mean, even John Fetterman thinks so.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
All
right,
brother.
man.
Well, have a great weekend.
Thanks.
Nathan.
You too. All right. Cheers.
Thanks a lot. Yep.
All right. I have one other person trying to call in. I'll take that call. One other person is trying to call in, so I'll take that call. Then I'm going to go ride my bike, I think, while it's still light outside and warm. So I'm going to ride my bike. I got to walk Sumi. Walking around. Hey, you're on the air.
Hey, this is Matt. I've been listening to your live stream. Thought I'd give you a call.
Hey, cool. What's up,
Matt? Hey guys, listen up. When it comes to this Texas border issue, I was listening to the comments of the callers and stuff, and I just want to give some perspective from someone who used to fly as a contractor. I'm a pilot for the State Department.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm right on this issue. Used to fly out of places like Brownsville, Texas, McAllen, Texas, Alexandria, Louisiana. Every time the government said we're not flying immigrants into the country as Biden took over, it was a flat out lie, to the point that had to leave this job of employment. And I think everybody has this bias towards, well, the situation isn't that bad, or this probably isn't going to get to this state or whatever. It's way worse than the people viewing think, and people have to realize they have a bias to believe this isn't so bad, then that they shouldn't take action.
Well,
but the fact is, conservatives are losing in this country bad.
In elections, and you mean in elections or in policy?
Across the board, you got one side of the team that will do anything to win, that condition the rest of you to tolerate it, and everyone else thinks they're going to play by the rules.
Right. Well, you have some experience.
You look at, I'm no expert, but when I worked for this company, I got hired there under the Trump administration. Once Joe Biden took over, we immediately began flying teenage to young adult children all across America in big cities under the cover of darkness in the middle of the night. Really? There were always charged. This is during the COVID time. This has been covered on Tucker Carlson and stuff, but I'm telling you, it's real. Under the cover of darkness, And there were people the people who looked like they were the chaperones, they didn't even have official looking IDs, and they were supposedly with Health and Human Services. You're being invaded and you're doing nothing. And if this team wants to take over America and you're just going to sit by and let them, you honestly deserve what you get, is what I'm calling to tell your audience. However many 100 so you have. Listen, if you're going to sit there and do nothing and you're not independent of the system, then just give up. I mean, why even listen to the live stream?
What do you think people should do?
You know what? I don't tell people what to do. That's never popular. Nobody wants that. What I'm telling you is, if you want to live, if your first priority is comfort, America's probably not for you. We'll probably lose it. If you want this to be easy and you want to sit at home and punch on the keyboard and go rah rah Trump, I promise you will lose.
Okay, so you suggest what? Arming ourselves, or what? I mean, what do you think people need to, like? You're saying the things that we shouldn't do. So what should we do? March on down to the border?
I'm not playing. I mean, listen to your elected leaders. There's 26 states now that are supporting. I mean, you have leaders, you have governors here. They're doing something. To my surprise.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's going on with Abbott. My suspicion is Abbott was pushed to make this. There's no off ramp for either side. So let's look at it from this point of view. What can Joe Biden do to back out of this now and lose and save face? Well, not really much, right? Most of the borders in Texas. Now look at Abbott. Do you think Abbott has a compromised position? Do you think he can say, okay, well, the 2 or 3 miles of this little dinky park in Eagle Pass, we secured that, but we're now part of the written deal with the federal government. They can cut the wire, everything else. No, he's not gonna. How do they save face?
I don't know. I don't know how they save face.
So you get this callers like, oh yeah, this probably won't amount to nothing. I mean, think again. I don't think there is a way out of this. There's no political off ramp, So, but either way, listen, guys, people are worried about, oh, well, these middle-aged men and they're on the terror watch list. The terror watch list was for you, fools. What you need to be paying attention to is these are the people who will be guaranteed citizenship and if a conflict erupts between the states. Everyone says, oh, the right will win. The right has all the guns. We have all the military base. Wrong. There are millions of people who want to be here so bad they'll do anything, including go through the Darien Gap, walk from literally Panama through jungles, be extorted, raped, robbed, threatened, and then they get to the United States, and you think they're going to give up?
Yeah, that's a good point.
The people in America have gotten so unaware and so used to comfort, so used to that easy, cheap grocery food. I'm telling you, I've flown all over the world. These people here, you think, oh, well, there might be terrorists, or you think that China's got this big plan, or they got all these Chinese people running around, and they're all ready, right, to do an October 7th style attack on Israel. I don't think so, guys.
You don't think they're ready to attack us, is what you're saying?
I think more than likely, these people are brought here by the people who don't like America. They're globalists. They're ready for America to end. America's a big wrench in the plan for what they want to do. And just America as a nation, this individual sovereignty thing, it's very difficult for corporate entities and, entities like that can manipulate money and create it and exchange it and such. It's not convenient for them. So this is a war against America. But on a greater sense, America is the crumbling pillar that's holding up the world of humanity being free and owning themselves. And so it's basically these people coming over the border. What is it now? 6 million or so? Can we just ballpark that?
Over the last 3 years, yeah.
Clayton, I like easy. Keep it simple, stupid, right? That's the acronym.
What
do you think? You think Joe Biden, if he gets into a conflict, is not going to say, hey, look, you fight for us. When we win, we're going to give you citizenship here.
Well, that would be, you're talking about civil war. So
isn't that what this is about, though?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to get there or not, but you have some, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be a civil war or not. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not on either side,
I'm saying that if you want to import a voter base, that's great. You have a population that's not replacing itself. This is a big part of it, guys.
Mm-hmm.
We're importing people. Okay. And so then you've got that benefit. So it makes sense for one side of the aisle to do that. But then on another sense, these people are used to living in authoritarian environments and taking orders. It's part of their culture. It's not American culture.
Mm-hmm.
But all the places these people come from, they're used for an authoritarian culture. I'm just throwing out a number 4, which is, tell me why these people wouldn't be utilized in a conflict.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess it's entirely possible. If we get there.
And there's another thing is that a fiat currencies have a typically don't last more than 50 years. And the dollar's been a fiat currency for, over 50 years now. Not much over. I can't remember somebody do the math in their head, So, what am I missing? I think there already is a conflict. I think Biden just restricted approval of new liquid natural gas exports.
Yeah.
Those come from these 26 states we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oklahoma.
Now, what should people do? Right. These are the people exporting this stuff. So, I think these things are aimed at those states. And I think what should people do? You always need to be able to protect yourself. If you want to be free, you need to be able to feed yourself for a reasonable amount of time, of disorder. And really in America, that's still not hard to do. And I think being mobile is actually being able to be mobile is pretty wise. So if you own a small camper, or you can live out of a van, or you can take a large amount of dried goods, rice, beans, or something, and stay mobile and lay low, that may be what people need to do. But being able to protect yourself is important.
Yeah.
If you got a property and you can't defend it, put up a sign that says sick, has the virus, please help.
Mm-hmm.
No one will help you. Okay. If you have a nice looking home and there's a little bit of disorder, like we saw, burning cities and stuff, guys, make it look like crap. Hang the shutters sideways, sling the door open and lay one across the steps of your porch. Throw some trash in you all got junk in your garage you don't use anyway, and you throw it in your front yard. Make it look like you left in a hurry and no one will want to go in there. That's my advice.
All right. Well, you're talking about civil war. You're talking about societal breakdown. We'll see if we get there. So, we'll see if we get
society
there.
has broke down. It's already broke down. It's just not like Hollywood has trained everyone to look for.
Right.
It's over.
Got it.
It's really
all right,
over, guys.
All right, man. Well, thanks for that pessimistic outlook. That's good for us to have. And appreciate you calling in, especially if this is your first time tuning in. Appreciate the call, man.
All right, man.
All right. See ya. All right. What if you're not allowed to own a firearm legally? What do you do then? You got to protect yourself with bats, knives, etc. So we'll see. I'm looking outside. Things are still okay. Grocery stores are still open. But that was a dark call. So anyway, thanks everybody for tuning into the show. It's a big show. We got more people tuned in now than we did the whole time. We just had somebody call in saying, get ready for civil war, throw trash in your yard. If I had a garage, I'd throw stuff out front. So we'll see. Let's see what happens. Okay. Let's see what happens. And thanks for the support during the show. Thanks again. Job for 9 and Orwell Today for the big super chats. Really appreciate those. Keep those coming in. Super thanks, whatever. I didn't get any coffees during this show. But you can give me a coffee anytime. And as you see, I read it on the show at buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. And I also have Cash App at $LTV411 for people who support me on Cash App. Appreciate everybody. I'm going to run, go out for a bike ride, see if there's any chaos outside of my neighborhood. Have a great weekend. Okay. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Big number today. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate it. Give it a like, subscribe to the channel. I normally do the show around the same time weekdays at 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern time. All right. Thanks everybody. All right. For now, that's what it is.